Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Terror Talks. Today we are on episode 4. we're just here having a good time. I know it's been a minute since we've been on with you guys, but we are back. We are better than ever. We are bringing you some great, terrific content. If you haven't watched our videos or you like what we do, be sure to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, all the social media. Share with your friends, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you want to hear about. We are everywhere, and we want to hear what you guys want to hear. So today we have a very special guest. He is a childhood friend of mine. We grew up right here in little old Augusta, Georgia. He's my good friend, Tyler. Say hello, Tyler.
What's going on? Happy to be here.
So on today's episode, we're going to be talking about some things. Paranormal, episode 4 of the Terror Talks. Wow, 4 episodes. How about that? You know, we've made it this far. It's pretty awesome.
I'm not gonna lie, Jeremy. Haven't seen a single episode yet, but I'm glad to be here on the 4th episode. It would have been better if I was on the first one. But you know what? Regardless, I'm here, and we made sub top 5 though. Before the first 5 episodes are out, I'm here, so we made the cut.
Well, don't worry. We will have you back for episode 100, of course. Once we mark that 100th episode, or even our year to the date episode. You drinking tonight? What are we having? We having drinks on this episode?
I'm drinking. Let's just look over here to the left. I have a steak and shake sweet tea, as well as a couple of bottles of Budweiser that are definitely warm to the touch, and mostly empty. Might have to get a refill here soon, but yeah, we are drinking tonight.
Oh yeah, so don't be surprised if this turns into a bit of a strange episode. We drink, things get weird, could be explicit, so be sure to be on the lookout for strange things. I'm drinking Smirnoff Ice, red, white, and blue edition. They came out with 4th of July. I like it.
I know the viewers can't see this, but it definitely, that drink looks delicious. It looks like a blue Kool-Aid. I honestly, I'm getting thirsty just looking at it. What flavor is that?
It is blue raspberry, cherry, and citrus, and it is amazing.
Yeah, that looks delicious. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I drink I bought a whole pack of them. I finished them tonight, so that's a great thing. All right. So let's just get right down to it. So on today's episode, we're going to be talking about some paranormal experiences. Tyler, I believe you have a couple that you'd like to share with us, and you're going to talk to us about them. So I'm just going to turn the floor right over to you, buddy.
All right, sounds good.
Sorry to interrupt the interview, but had to give a quick disclaimer on what happens right here in the video. It seems that we hit the wrong buttons, and part of our conversation was not picked up on recording. Due to this, there's a strange jump from where Tyler begins to tell his story, and then is later telling it somewhere in the middle. All I will tell you to summarize what was said is that Tyler does not claim to be any paranormal expert on what happened, and he also claims that he knows he was at a young age when this experience occurred, but does not discredit that for any reason, as children have been known to have a connection to the spirit world. We pick up where Tyler is telling us of an experience he had with the Green Man and when he told his father. Enjoy.
I'm gonna say, I do remember, however, vividly, I was at the top of my staircase and I told my dad about the situation, and he looked up at me and held the middle finger up and said, "Well, if you see him again, tell him I said this." I was like, "All right, Dad, thank you so much for that. Father of the Year for that one. I appreciate that." And, I didn't always sleep any better at night. But the Green Man kept waking me up at night, and the only memory I really have of it was I'd be asleep, and it would just wake me up in the middle of the night. It wouldn't, be over me. I would just wake up. There would be no noise. I would just wake up, and I would see the green figure there. And eventually my parents, they were getting a little tired of me hearing me talk about this Green Man. So my dad's brother, my uncle at the time, an investigator for the local police department. So he was like a detective or whatever. And they actually reached out to him because they wanted to see, if anyone had died in the house prior to us moving in. And basically they got into contact with him, and he was able to pull some records, and he was able to let them know that there was actually an old man that had died in that house, and he didn't have any family in the area, and the only reason why his body was found was because the neighbors had noticed he hadn't come outside in like a couple of months. So they went and checked in on him, and I kid you not, as soon as my parents heard this, we literally moved out. They literally told my parents an old man had died in that house, and his body was literally rotting inside of a recliner chair, and his skin was literally had a green tone to it.
Oh,
and
wow.
As soon as they heard that, we literally packed up and left that day. I kid you not. Like, I don't know how to explain any of that. It was certainly in the realm of unexplainable paranormal. Obviously, that's what it is. It's just impossible to explain. And I think that that's so crazy. I mean, you got to think, some 6-year-old kid is complaining to their parents that he's seen a green man wake him up at night. And then they hear that from my uncle, who was a detective that pulled files and was able to let them know that an old man had died there and turned green. Like, and that I was seeing a green ghost. It's like, I mean, come on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's insane. I mean, what are the odds? I mean, that's crazy.
Exactly my point. And like, I must have been around the age of 6 to 10. I can't give you an exact age, but it was somewhere around there, maybe even younger, to be honest. And like I said, we moved out that day, and that's really all I remember of that story. I don't remember too much because I was really young. And, you know, I know there's like I don't know if this is scientifically proven, so don't come at me. But, I mean, I've read some stories or some articles saying that depending on how traumatic an event was in your past, the human brain actually suppresses certain memories from, like, your stable conscience. So, I mean, maybe that happened, maybe that's not the case. But either way, I was a little too young to remember full in depth. But that's the gist of what happened. And I actually do have like another story to tell, as if one wasn't good enough. Like, I really don't. I don't know, man. I mean, what do you think about that? Like, as someone looking in from like another person's point of view, like if I was hearing someone else say this story and I had no experience with anything like that before, I would be thinking, you know what? It's a young kid. His mind is developing. He's probably, who knows what's going on up there, but as the person that experienced it, like, I'm curious to see what your thoughts are on like an event like that, as me telling it to you. Like, what do you think about it?
I mean, to me, you know, from the first glance of the whole story, it almost seems like, you know, like you said, oh, it's the little kid, he saw something, he had a bad dream, that type of thing. You know, it's easy to blow off as if it's nothing, but then you go back and you look at the evidence. You look at the history of this house, and there's he rotted, and he was rotting to the point that he was green. I mean, coincidences, I believe in them, but I mean, come on, that's one hell of a coincidence if I ever heard one. I mean, it's too much of a coincidence to be fake.
Yeah, that's a little. The detail that's involved in that is a little too down to the T for that to be a coincidence in my book. And I mean, having experienced it, like, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and act like I can defend this in the court of law. I'll put up on the podium, you know, I wouldn't be able to give too much of a good argument. You asked me to come on here and, you know, give my experience, and that's what I'm doing. I mean, since then, I haven't had any experiences. I did have another one that I'll get into in a second. That actually my sister was really at the front head of experiencing. And I've heard this before, that young children and dogs are the ones that can sense things outside of our realm. And, you know, maybe that's true, maybe that's not. You know, as humans, we really don't even know how the fuck we're even on Earth right now. There's really little we can even explain, let alone that. But ever since then, I mean, I haven't had any experiences or anything as I've gotten older. So, I mean, that just makes me believe more that, you know, maybe smaller children are more exposed to this sort of thing. Maybe it's something with the way their brain is developing. I don't know. There's a million reasons that you could get into to explain why someone younger could experience this, as opposed to someone, you know, who has like a fully developed brain and is an adult. But I mean, yeah, it's absolutely insane.
Oh yeah, and I mean, it's not that, you know, crazy to really fathom, because I've heard a lot of stories about younger children, and like you said, animals especially. And you know, I haven't gotten to hear quite as many stories, but there's another podcast that I listen to, and I'm going to give them a shout out. They're called Tales from the Crypt. Check them out. They're on Spotify. Be sure to give them like and follow them. They're a great podcast. Shout out to not Spotify. Shout out to Spotify. Yeah, well, you know what? Go to Spotify. Download the app. But I've been listening to some of their stuff.
It's on your platform, Spotify.
I've been listening to some of their podcasts that they do, and they do a lot of paranormal things, alien abductions, all these different things. Like, they're really interesting. And one of the things that, I've heard several stories about is how animals can, sense that kind of, that spirit world. And I would say that children and animals, in a way, no offense any children and animals that are listening, but children and animals, in a way, kind of have that same attention span almost, just because when you're a child, your brain, like you said, it's not as fully developed. And maybe that, in some strange way, kind of gives you access to a different field than that of a fully developed adult.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not a scientist. I don't really want to get into anything that I can't really back up as far as like citing an article that was done by a university or any other like prestigious scientific entity. But I mean, if you just think back and like, I see a lot of videos on the internet about some people remember life being more vivid when you were a kid, like maybe colors were brighter. And I think that as you get older, you're not seeing things for the first time as much as you were when you were a kid. So your mind sort of like, in a way, I feel like it's more dull
Right.
to certain experiences as to when you were as a kid, and maybe that has something to do with it. I can't really speak on that too much, but I mean that's something to think about at least.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have another story to tell us.
I do. Hopefully this one will be a little longer. I know I really wanted to give more in depth, but I'm trying to remember as much as I can. This other story happened. My parents had gotten divorced at the time, and my little sister was around. So the other story was just me and my parents. So I was an only kid at the time. This next story, a little in between the two stories, my parents got divorced. Me and my sister were with my mom, and we moved into another. It was like a townhouse as well, where like two houses are merged and families live on the other side or whatever.
Yeah.
It was the same sort of house. This one was one story, the other one was two. So this one, I don't recall seeing anything as I did with the Green Man story. However, my little sister, she must have been like 4 or 5. So she was little. And I mean, I'm just going to come out and say this right now. I'm not really a religious individual. And I know a lot of religion is tied to the afterlife and sort of thing. So being someone that's not really a religious person, I'm not gonna sit here and say that this is all BS, because like I personally experienced it. I can't just brush it off as it not happening, because it literally happened. So basically, we moved in. Everything was fine for a while. As far as in detailed time frames, I can't give, but let's just say a couple months go by. Probably within 6 months go by, maybe less. My sister starts getting woken up at night, similar to me with the Green Man, but she would be like screaming, like it would be like a night terror. So I remember I was young enough to where I was still sleeping with my mom, as I do today. And no, I'm just kidding. But, I'd be in my mom's bed, and I would just be woken up with my sister screaming, and my mom would run in there, and I'd be like, "Oh, what the fuck's going on?" And I would just go back to sleep. And it happened a lot, and basically it got to the point to where she couldn't sleep alone anymore. So we were all just sleeping in my mom's bed, and I remember one time I couldn't fall asleep. Then they were both passed out. I didn't see anything as far as like apparition or spirits go, but I do physically remember seeing this event. There was a giant, like a massive Bible that we had, and it was so large, like we had it propped up against the wall, because like it's not something that you keep on a desk. It was just too huge.
Yeah.
Like it was like the size of a computer, and we had it on the desk or on the floor, leaning against the wall. And I remember one night I was just zoned out, trying to fall asleep, and the Bible fell over. Easily propped up against the wall, weighs a lot. No gust of wind or air conditioning knocked it over. I was like, okay, I didn't think of that at the time. I went over and picked it up, and like throughout the night, 3 more times it would fall over. Even when I was asleep, it would wake me up because, like I said, it was massive. So like when it fell over, it would make a huge thump. Like I would hear it, and it woke me up, and I would be like, "Mom, the Bible is literally getting knocked over right now. What is happening?" And she's like, "Just ignore it, whatever." So I kept picking it up, and I literally stared at it the last time I watched it fall over, and it literally just flew over. Like, it's really hard to explain this over an audio version. If this was like, if we had video pulled up, I could maybe like give you a size reference, but this was big. Like, if you were holding it, you'd have to have like your arms crossed against your chest holding it. It was that big.
Oh, wow.
So I was really like not understanding how this big ass book was falling over. And later on, again, we had someone look into the house. We actually had before I get into that, I just remembered this. We had a priest come by from the Most Holy Trinity Church, which you know.
Yep.
We had a priest come by. You probably know one of the priests. I forget his name, but you probably knew who it was. He came through and he blessed the house because that's how like concerned my mom was.
Yeah.
Because first it was the Green Man event, and then my sister was having these issues sleeping at night and getting woken up and just screaming bloody murder. Like, it was literally like, I know we're on here having a good time, but this is like real serious right now. Like, my sister would wake up screaming bloody murder. Like, she had just gotten like stabbed or witnessed a murder. Like, it was rough.
Wow.
So after the blessing went by, as far as the detail goes, I don't really know if anything subsided as far as the events or anything like that. I do know that my mom talked to our landlord at the time, and she got someone, or she looked into the house, because legally, I don't know if this is a state-by-state cases, but you're supposed to let the tenant know if someone died in the fucking house you're trying to rent them. Like, regardless if you believe in ghosts or not.
Yeah.
It's just like, that would decrease the property value, and them hiding that is actually illegal. So,
right.
She actually came front to us and said that someone literally committed suicide in the back of the house in the laundry room that led out to the back door with a gun, and he killed himself in there. So after hearing that, I was like, oh my God. I was like, there's like, a lot of people don't even have these experiences. I've had 2 of them. Like, these are like, even though I can't remember vividly, like, these are 2 like prominent memories I have that I could still recall to some detail to this day.
Right.
About paranormal activity sort of things happening. And I mean, my mom found out about it. She's like, yeah, we're getting the fuck out of here again. We're moving, part 2. We're moving out again. So, you know, I really wish I could go in more depth as far as the details go, but I mean, I was really young, and I think that I was only able to retain so much information at the time as a kid that I have glimpses of it, memory-wise, that I don't have the full story. But that's pretty much what happened with both those stories. And I mean, all I know, I'm just gonna say this personally: if I was listening in someone else's shoes to me talking about this, I'd be like, yeah, whatever, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, okay. But I'm being so honest right now. I can't explain any of this stuff that happened. But I'm just here to say that I did experience it, and I mean, did it change my view as far as like religion and anything that goes? No, not really. But there's still no way for me to explain it, and obviously the scientific community or any of the intellectuals leading our race still don't have a way of explaining it. Because I mean, how can you explain it? You know what I mean?
Right.
We just don't have the understanding to explain that yet.
Right. And
so, I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah, I mean that. Wow, I don't think you ever told me that second story before. Because when you told me you had another story, I wasn't even thinking about that. I was thinking about something else that you had told me about one of your other sisters seeing like a dog or something in a house, and maybe that was a misunderstood story or something. I had heard another story, but
yeah, maybe. I'm not even sure I even know what you're talking about, to be honest. But actually, this isn't really a story. It's sort of like a topic, I guess, because I wasn't there to experience it.
Yeah.
But actually, my wife had an experience like this as well, and she told me about it So I can sort of give a quick summary on it. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I mean, she told me it maybe once or twice a while ago, and I don't remember too much. But I remember the gist of it. And she was she was out playing in the front yard. She grew up on a dirt road, and she was like out in the dirt road or whatever, like a couple 100 feet away from the house playing or whatever. And it was her and her sister at the time. And she saw her sister in the doorway of their house yelling at them to come in. She's like, "Sierra, come inside right now," or something. And then she looked over, and her sister was like behind her in the woods. So she's like, "Okay, well, she's right there. Who did I just see in the fucking doorway?" And it turns out they were home alone. I mean, I wasn't there. I don't have any of the details really, but I do remember that. So that was kind of creepy that, she also had a somewhat similar experience with that as well. I mean, I don't know how to explain it, obviously, but
Oh yeah, no, I mean
unexplainable.
that reminds me of a story I heard the other day. There was this guy. He was sitting at home alone, or no, he was sitting at home with some of his roommates, and his mom went out to go get coffee for him, and he was sitting on a business call while I guess his mom was out getting his coffee or whatever. And then as he was in the middle of the call, his mom was standing in the doorway, and he kind of gestured for her to come in because he was assuming she had the coffee, and she just kind of stared at him and shook his head and said no. And he kept saying, like, "Come on, it's fine, come in." And she kept saying no, no. And then she walked away, and so he runs downstairs and asks his roommates, "Hey, did mom come back?" And they're like, "No, she's not back yet." And sure enough, a few minutes later, his mom comes back with the coffee, and he has no idea how that even occurred. And the podcast I listened to, they actually credited it to being like a glitch in the Matrix. So they took a step further from paranormal and said that it could have been like a glitch in the Matrix. Yeah. And that's creepy.
For the explanations, because there's just really no way to explain it. Like, how many dimensions can the human mind understand and acknowledge? What is it, 3 or 4? 3, right?
I have no idea. I was hoping you knew.
How many dimensions can humans perceive? So we're 3D creatures, but we can only perceive 2 dimensions or 3. Either way, it's 2 or 3. This isn't a scholar podcast.
Yeah.
I'm like Googling this right now. But who's to say there's not like up to 40, 50, 70 dimensions that exist?
Oh
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
absolutely.
Like, if you look at like a bacterial organism under a microscope, like they live in like a 2D environment.
Right.
There's no way for them to perceive the dimensions that we perceive. So who's to say there's not other dimensions out there that are coexisting, but we just can't perceive them? I know there's this one. I'm gonna botch this. Don't even quote me on this. I'm going to botch it. I promise. There's like this atom. There's like this particle that scientists studied, and I think it's the God particle. Let me see what the actual name for it is. The Higgs boson. So I think it's the Higgs boson that is a particle that can actually, like, it can be observed and then instantly just disappear, and like it just like teleported somewhere else. And
Really?
And then like say it like appears in a certain area, goes away, and appears in a different location next time you see it. Like things like that. Like, how do we know it's not going into like a different dimension?
Right.
Or something that we can't perceive and then coming back? Like, there's no way. Like, we're not at the stage in our existence to even explain that sort of phenomena. So there's just a million explanations that we could try to give credit to explaining what happened.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Wow, that's really something to think about when you think about it like that. All right, we're gonna take a quick break, but we'll be right back. When you think about it, true. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back in a minute.
Hey there, Terror Talks fans. Are you looking for some other content to listen to? Well, check out our friends at Tales from the Crypt. Join them on a journey into the unexplained, the unnatural, and the unbelievably scary. Every week, They dig through the creepiest and weirdest listener stories, almost too horrifying to be true. This ghoulishly delightful podcast is narrated by two ghoulish girls. Have a story to tell? Questions? Comments? Contact them at tftcsub@gmail.com. Be sure to check them out and let them know the Terror Talk sent you.
And we are back here on the Terror Talks. I'm here with my special guest, Mr. Tyler.
Hello.
All right, so earlier you heard us talking about some haunted tales that we have, or I should say that he has had in his life. And so now we're going to be talking about 10 of the top haunted places in the CSRA. One of the things to note here, when Tyler and I were very, very young, we used to be, I guess, what you would call amateur ghost hunters, almost. We were looking up every haunted place to go. If you saw the video, he's dying right now laughing at that. We would always be looking up all these different haunted locations. I went as far as to email Ghost Adventures at one point. Shout out Ghost Adventures, check them out. I went and emailed them and said, hey, we've got a place here in Augusta you should come check out. I never heard from them, but in those quests for... yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm like on a blocked list now from them.
Put on the block list. We want to hear from this kid again.
But in our endeavors of searching, we came upon several lists, and there's a forum out there, and maybe one day I'll find it and we'll like really dive into it. Of different haunted locations here in Augusta, and these are like full 100% visual accounts of these places being haunted. And so we actually have the top 10 list of locations in the CSRA that are haunted. And we are going to start off with number 10. And that would be the haunted cursed pillar. Tyler, I think you remember this one from back in the day, don't you?
I vividly remember this. I remember looking up, there's a lot of controversy around this cursed pillar as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I remember a couple people, there was a couple stories of people working on it, and, you know, they were trying to tear it down, and then they just died. I mean, I don't know too much. I'm not going to sit here and I don't know all the details. Like, you probably know more than me, but...
No, I mean, that... well, that's pretty much the gist of it is, you know, people would touch it, and they got sick, or they died. I mean, it was pretty much... That was the gist of it. So I'm actually going to read the tale of the haunted pillar here. I've got it written down right here. But one thing that I'm going to let everybody in on, this haunted pillar that was, you know, believed could not be taken down, which you'll hear several accounts of it in the story, it actually does not exist anymore. It was destroyed by a car several Decembers ago, and so that clearly made people question the validity of this legend. But you know, there are some creepy coincidences with it, and apparently, from what I'm reading here, people actually tried to resurrect the pillar itself after it was destroyed. So that's very interesting. It's a very big part of Augusta folklore, I guess you could say. So the story of the haunted pillar goes, there was a preacher who, having been barred from handing out texts and bothering people as they went about their business at Augusta's lower market, cursed the establishment. He told the locals, if this business finds itself torn apart and destroyed, you remember how you wouldn't let a preacher talk to the people here. A few weeks later, a tornado blew through the town, and this is a rare event in Augusta. You know, me and Tyler, we grew up here, and I don't think we've ever heard of a tornado coming through here, have we?
No.
It's one of those rare phenomenons. But a tornado, sure enough, blew through, and when the dust had settled, the only thing left standing of the lower market building was a single 10-foot pillar. The preacher's words had come true, the curse was deemed real, and a legend was born. Though it does not stand currently and has been accidentally knocked down and rebuilt before, the foot of the pillar is believed to still be in its original spot, which is now the corner of 5th and Broad Street, and those who touch its menacing masonry are believed to invite anything from bad events in their future to certain death. Certain death. What do you think about that?
I mean, let's be honest here. I mean, the whole point of the story is to make it seem a little bit more otherworldly than it actually is. But I mean, there are a couple stories of people saying that how they did get sick from touching it. I remember one story where someone touched it and they woke up one day and had like scratches all over their back. You know, just weird stuff like that.
Yeah.
Makes no sense at all. So I mean, yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at a picture of it actually just completely destroyed on the ground. You said someone ran into it with a car.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably dead by now, huh? What do you think? Probably fucking dead.
Well, it depends on how bad the car accident was.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it right now. To be honest, Jeremy, I'm just gonna be completely frank with you. I'm actually looking at the picture of the car parked right in front of it, and I'm just gonna be honest with you, dude. Like, this pillar was next to a building, but you definitely had to go out of your way to hit this thing. I think that this guy definitely put that bitch in 4-wheel drive and just fucking slammed it, because I don't think it's directly on the road, is it? Yeah, it is actually kind of close to the road, but
It was close, but it was more like on the corner.
yeah. Yeah, it didn't look like it was directly. I feel like they would have hit like a light pole before they hit that, but did they rebuild it? You said they rebuilt it?
I don't know if they've rebuilt it since that car accident. I know that they said at one point when it was accidentally destroyed, they did rebuild it. So I have been downtown several times. I haven't quite looked for it since I've been down there, but I'll definitely have to look downtown and give an update next time.
I'm looking at a Google article. It says, "Sorry, Haunted Pillar is permanently closed." The market was then in fact destroyed by a freak winter tornado, which left nothing but the single column stating, "Local tradition still says that if a person touches the pillar, they will perish shortly after." Scary shit, dude.
I think we.
Let's go touch it this weekend.
Let's do it. Let's go. We'll take video of it. All right. Up next on our list is.
Yeah, if I come down this weekend. Oh shit! Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I was saying that if I come down this weekend, if I come in town this weekend, maybe we can go check out the location.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll take some pictures.
Which I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure it is gone. But what's that one hotel?
The Partridge Inn.
Before about is that next on the list?
It's actually way further down on the list. We'll get to that shortly. But that's one.
Okay, if it's all, that's all I cared. That it was on the list. That's all I cared.
Oh yeah. So number 9. Do you have the list in front of you?
Yeah, I have it pulled up.
Read number 9 for us. Tell us about number 9, Red Cliff Plantation.
So the Red Cliff Plantation on Beach Island, it's in South Carolina. So the Red Cliff Plantation was said to be haunted by the spirit of its owner. It was a former U.S. Senator, John Hammond. Little is known about why he chose to haunt his own plantation, but it's said that one field in particular is a hotspot for strange, unexplained occurrences.
Okay, interesting.
I don't really know much about the story. Do you know anything about it?
I've never heard of this story before, but that's very interesting. It's very vague. I mean, there's not a whole lot to it. I mean, I don't know. That description was very short. That's something we're gonna have to like devote a special episode just to like investigating that one. Like that. That's a future thing. Huh. Strange occurrences in a field. Very interesting. Sorry.
One of the bedrooms on Google Images for this Red Cliff Plantation. And I mean, this house is pretty gorgeous. Like, it definitely looks like a plantation house, though. But there's a picture. It just gives you those creepy vibes. But I guess at the same time, any house built back then today would look pretty fucking creepy.
It's like going to the boyhood home of Woodrow Wilson here in Augusta. I mean, that thing gives you creepy vibes. It's not haunted. That I know of.
I've never been there.
Wow, that's a trip. Shout out Woodrow. I have, yeah. I went on a field trip there. That was a very neat little
Shout out
trip.
Woodrow Wilson.
Yeah.
One of the best dudes we've ever known.
I think it was Woodrow Wilson. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Boyhood Home of Woodrow Wilson is down there, actually very close to Most Holy Trinity, like literally a street up or two.
Oh, it's downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is downtown, dude. It's kind of crazy. I mean, they kept the house intact, but everything around it. Yeah, I can see the James Brown Arena in the distance.
Yep.
Everything else around it is like obviously modern.
Oh yeah.
You just have this one patch of property, which is the house.
I won't lie. I have
I want to go.
I have speculation that it could be haunted, just because when I was there, I got this vibe. But then at the same time, it's like, really, like, you're in an old house. Of course you get that vibe. But I don't know. I mean, it definitely gives you those weird feelings when you're going through there. Number 8 is Annie's Inn. It is at 3083 Charleston Highway, Aiken, South Carolina. So we're going a little bit further. I guess not further north, but I guess kind of further north. I don't know. Aiken, South Carolina. I've been up there a couple times. The story goes, a Greek revival home in the
really close to Aiken.
Oh, okay. Nice. A Greek revival home in the heart of Aiken is home to a charming bed and breakfast that has been a feature in town for over 30 years now, but it seems that one guest has taken up residence of a more permanent nature. Both the owners and patrons alike have reported hearing the voice of a little girl calling out for her mother, yet when these cries are investigated, no child is ever found. I'm interested.
Yeah. This is on the same topic of this entire theme, but this is really off topic as far as the story goes. I don't know if you want me to intervene here.
Yeah, go for it.
I just want to ask if you know what the death of Elisa Lam was.
I do not.
So maybe if I explain it, some of you might know. This is a pretty popular story a while ago. So there's video footage released of it too. Basically, I'm going to just give you the quick overview to see if it jogs your memory. Basically, there was this girl who I think was schizophrenic, and she was in a hotel, and she was in this elevator, and there was a camera recording her, and she kept peeking out of the elevator doorway as if someone was following her, and the camera cut off, and then it didn't, like, there was no sight as to where she went. And like a week or two later, they found her dead body in the water tank on the roof.
Oh wow!
You know what? You remember any of it all or no?
No, I've never heard this story.
So this was actually, it was in LA in like 2013. This was actually on Netflix. I don't know if it's still on it, but there was a documentary on this, and I watched it. It was super creepy. I know people listening probably have heard this before. It was the Hotel Cecil. It was a pretty popular story, so I don't think it's going to be news to many people, but basically they found her body in a hotel water tank, and I mean those things are locked. You know, like there's like a military grade lock on that lid, and they found her body in there completely naked. She had no clothes on. She like drowned in it. Like it is a complete mystery as to how she got in there, and like she obviously drowned, but that's not a mystery. But like, how did she climb to the roof, open the hatch up, get in, take her clothes off, and die?
Right. That is interesting. We're gonna have to do some research on that. We're gonna have to try and find that documentary. We're gonna have to do an episode on this one. I think that'd be a fun one to explore.
Yeah, because it's super. Yeah.
If anybody has any info,
you have to watch this on Netflix before we talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I remember watching it, but it was a minute ago, so I don't really know too much. But it's definitely a crazy story. Just super. It's just a lot of mystery too, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of unexplained events.
We'll have to set up some time to watch it and have a discussion on that. That'd be fun. That'd be interesting. And if anybody else out there has anything that they know, any information about that, and they'd like to come on, we'd love to have you on here. You can join the discussion. We love to have guests on all the time. The more the merrier.
Or if you're a silent listener, you can email. I'm sure Jeremy has an email set up for this podcast where you could submit any stories that you might be interested in or want to hear us look into.
Yes, absolutely.
God knows there's a million stories to even talk about.
Oh, yeah.
Anything related to this genre.
Yes. And speaking of stories, we have number 7 on our top 10 list. You want to read it for us, Tyler?
Yes. Which one is it?
The Graniteville Cemetery.
Okay, so this one again is in South Carolina. Graniteville Cemetery was said to be, or is said to be haunted by two benign ghosts, one of which stems from an event that took place a century and a half ago in 1865, so in the Civil War era. A train stopped at Graniteville upon which a young boy had stowed away. He got off, but his trip made him severely ill, and he died shortly after in the care of the locals. He was unable to remember anything about who he was or where he'd come from, and having nothing to identify him with about his person of the people of Graniteville, laid him to rest in their cemetery beneath the headstone, simply reading "The Little Boy," and then the day he died in 1865. From that day, this town's residents and other visitors have left toys on his grave, and legend has it that his spirit can sometimes be seen playing with his new gifts. Similarly, the ghost of a woman known as the Witch, meandering through the rows of headstones and placing flowers on the graves of young children, has been reported, as well as strange goings on involving cell phones, such as phones. Wait, I fucked this one up. Sorry. Such as phones that are off receiving calls and phantom calls that respond with a busy tone when answered. So basically, phones ringing when they're not even hooked up, that are inactive. People getting phone calls from literally nothing.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That scares the shit out of me to even think about. Oh, I hate those.
Just picture like, I know for me, like I'm home alone right now, and I mean not even just right now, but at any time it could be during the day. If I were to get, I've gotten a phone call like that before, but I mean it could have just been lost connection. But I mean it's still creepy on this all the same. You're just at home, someone calls you, you have no idea who it is. Maybe the number says blocked or unregistered or whatever, and you pick it up and you just hear static, and you wait a minute, no one says anything. I mean, even if it has nothing relating to a ghost, that's still creepy as shit.
Oh yeah, and especially the busy tone when you call a number and it says it's busy. Like, oh my god, that is creepy. If you don't know what the busy tone is, we're gonna insert a clip right here of what it sounds like. Yeah, that shit is. Yeah. Oh god, it gives me the creeps. I call my grandmother and her phone is always doing that 'cause she's on the line with somebody else, and I'm just like, I'm gonna die now. Like, it gives you those vibes. Like, it is. We're gonna stop talking about busy tones now. Move on to number 6 on our list. This is the one you've been waiting for, Tyler. This is the one you're excited about. The Partridge Inn.
The Partridge Inn right here. I'll take. Can I take this one?
Take it, bud. Take it. Yeah, go for it.
All right, this one is a little crazy to me, just because I don't know, something about the hotels, haunted hotels, especially from the area we live in. You know, that's I don't know. It's just interesting to me.
Oh yeah.
I've never personally been. I think Jeremy, you've been though, right?
I stayed one night there. I did not get to stay in the supposedly haunted room, just because I was just trying to find a quick room for a night. But I will say, before you even get into the story, there is something about that hotel. And for those of you who are very much into that supernatural kind of world and you believe in that sort of thing, when something is off about a place, you know. Like it's that feeling of you almost feel like you're being watched. And walking through those hallways of that hotel, it conveys that feeling. Like even staying the night there, I think I woke up like 3 or 4 times the whole night I was sleeping there because it was that just ominous. Yeah. So tell us about it, Tyler. Tell us what happened there.
Okay, so the Partridge Inn is said to be inhabited by the spirit of a bride who tragically had her special day taken from her. The story goes that a woman named Emily was getting ready for her wedding at the Partridge Inn when she was informed that her husband had been shot and killed as he rode through town, having been mistaken for a soldier wanted for treason. Stricken with grief, she apparently didn't take off her wedding dress for weeks and was never married. Eventually dying of a broken heart, it's believed that her spirit returned to the hotel to forever await her groom's arrival. And indeed, guests do report seeing a young lady matching Emily's description in wearing a wedding dress, wandering through the inn's hallways.
So I believe this to a degree. I'm not so sure about through the inn's hallways because, like I said, I went through the hallways, but at the same time, it doesn't seem that far fetched. But there are parts to it that I have a little bit of I don't know. I'm a little questionable on some of the things there. Um, I did speak with a coworker who her daughter actually stayed in the supposedly haunted room, and I think she got so scared while staying there that she actually said, "Can we come home?" Like she was not staying in that place another minute. Like so there's some truth to it. I do believe that. Um, and I guess really what it all boils down to is, um, some things you have to kind of see it rather than just hear it to believe it. And I feel like in this case that might be one of them. But just looking at the building itself, like I work right up the street from it actually, so I drive by it every day when I go to lunch, and it's got the big colonial kind of vibe when you look at it. It's got the colonial pillars. It's very reminiscent of a plantation home almost, but a plantation hotel, I guess you would call it.
Architecture, just looking at the building, you can tell the architecture is from that era.
Right. And that whole actually, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, one of our places, oh yeah, our number one place on the list is actually right up the street um, from this location. That whole area down there is very reminiscent of the early colonial period of Augusta, Georgia. And so there are just stories upon stories upon stories of these haunted locations. Hell, even the place I work at, we do actually think that at my job there is a ghost because we have seen things. We've had eyewitness accounts of having seen things in I work at a church, for those of you who are curious. I won't say what church, just for keeping the privacy and such. But one of our staff members there said she went into the chapel, and she was turning things on to get it ready for the day. And when she was in there, she actually saw like a shadow figure walking along like the front of the chapel. Like she saw it kind of move through there. And then actually a couple weeks ago, she told me another story of she was sitting there at the church. I think it was about 7 o'clock in the morning, maybe a little earlier. And we have a camera that faces the front porch. And she looked at the camera, and there was just this dark mass that appeared right there on the stairs. And she said she couldn't explain it. There was nothing that could have cast the shadow. Like, she was looking for every possible explanation. But I seriously don't doubt it, because given the area and the history of that area down there. So, I mean, yeah, downtown Augusta is just going activity galore down there.
Yeah, what I like about this list is that it's in the hometown we're from. You know what I mean? So I know you've probably gone to a couple of these locations. I haven't been to like any of them, even the Haunted Pillar, which is like the most famous haunted location in Augusta, I would have to say. But the thing that's cool about it is that we could literally go to the Partridge Inn
Oh, yeah.
and request whatever room is said to be the most haunted, and just stay there for a night or two and just see what happens, and then
Mm-hmm.
record something. But
Oh, yeah. You can.
all these locations are super accessible to experience. Like, try to get an experience out of to see if anything is legit. And I don't know if how you feel about the Conjuring series, but that is my favorite personal.
Oh, yeah.
That's my favorite horror series. I think the movie is so well done as far as being scary and also having a great story at the same time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
As far as being based off of actual events, quote, that happened in those places. And I remember seeing a couple of videos recently of people staying at the actual house where that had taken place, the actual Conjuring house, and that place just looks just pure. It looks like It looks like a portal to hell.
Oh, jeez.
To be honest. So anything that looks, I'm now I want to go. Let's go right now. Let's go to the Partridge Inn. Let's give them a call. Book a room. Like I'm on the way.
Hey, man, I'm open for it, man. I'd do it. Like I said, I've stayed there once before. It was cheap. It was easy. It was fun. I had a good time. And nice rooms. They've done a lot of renovating on the place, so maybe the renovations have pissed the ghosts off like extra, because it's not the same as what it was back in the day. So who knows? Ooh, I like it. We'll just go in there and just start like just taunting them, be like, "Come on, bitch, let's go."
Maybe we just bring Windex and a couple brooms and just start cleaning the hell out of the place and just
Hey, you never know, man. You never know.
give them a total remodel and just see if they get pissed about it.
All right, number 5. We are at the Sibley Mill, Goodrich Street, Augusta, Georgia. So we got another Augusta story for you. I have actually been right around this place before, and I think every time I looked at it, assuming it's the building, I think it is, I always thought there was something off-putting about this place. So the story goes, another tale of love.
Every one of these locations, remember, is just like every location on this list that's in Augusta, Georgia. Like, yeah, I actually eat lunch there every day. I was actually born right down the road. I've never been to any of these locations, and I'm from the same town as you. I've never been to any of these places.
Well, yeah, I have to travel a lot for work, so I'm all over town. So it gives me a little bit of leeway here. And I rode my bike right past this one, actually, if it's the one I'm thinking of, so. Riding bikes to the... Yeah. There's a bike trail that goes right by it. So the story goes, another tale of love turned tragic awaits at Sibley Mill in Augusta. In the early 1900s, 2 of the mill's workers, Maud Williams and Arthur Glover, were engaged in an extramarital affair that Williams broke off in 1906. Glover, however, was unable to come to terms with the end of the relationship, and later that year, he barged his way onto the premises and fatally shot Maud. Since then, there have been reports of music being heard with no apparent source, sightings of Maud herself, and it's even said that people unaware of the haunting have talked to Maud's apparition only to have her disappear before their very eyes. Now, I don't see why any human could make any of that up. Like that's pretty intense, right? That's, wow. Tyler, what thoughts?
Yeah. Huh. I mean, yeah, it's definitely, I wouldn't put it outside the realm of someone making up, just because humans have made up a lot of shit. And there's a lot of, I think, probably even crazier stories that humans have made up. But with that being said, it's in Augusta, Georgia. I don't know where Goodrich Street is, but I'm sure Google Maps does, and I'm sure my Ford Taurus will find a way down there. So, we might have to give it a little excavation and just see what's going on with Maud, see if she's still lurking around and stuff.
Just my whole weekend, like in between all my gigs I have to do, will just be traveling to haunted locations. Like, hey, Jeremy, what are you doing later? Oh, I'm going to mess with poltergeists. It's no big deal.
I'm chasing this bitch named Maud. She's been haunting this place for like 80 years. I'm about to take her down on my lunch break. What are you doing? Are you going to Applebee's? Yeah, okay. And Maud, she's fucking mozzarella sticks. I'm about to go. I'm about to literally go create a, what's it called? I almost said the wrong word.
He's got exorcism. Exorcism.
I almost said crucifixion.
Oh God.
I'm gonna go do a exorcism on my lunch break, dog.
Yeah, apparently I'm a priest now. I now have that power, so it's great. It's great. All right, we're down to 4.
Speaking of power, is that behind you on camera? Is Daniel home with you?
Yeah, he's home.
Okay, I thought his girlfriend was over because I literally had seen something in the background. But,
oh shit! You better not be seeing shit on the camera here. Better just be Daniel see, seeing ghosts on camera. Oh, you're probably seeing unless you're just fucking with me, you're probably seeing that thing.
No, I saw the balloon.
Oh well, I don't know what the hell you saw. Let's say there's a ghost in my house apparently. So
No, there's literally Daniel just walked right past it. Actually, underneath the doorway to the kitchen, up top from the roof, it was like poking down its head, kind of.
I'm trying to like find a way to make it appear again. I don't know. Who knows? There's demons in my house. It's fine. They woke Daniel up a couple times.
The guitar right now.
Oh shit. Okay, it just got real, people. Number 4, Hotel Aiken, 235 Richland Avenue, West Aiken, South Carolina. I have been right in this area before, so there is a good chance I have seen it, and I did not even know it was haunted.
Shocker, Jeremy. Shocker, you've been there.
Okay, I see the word toilets in this one, and I just don't even know where to go with this shit. Okay, you ready for this one?
The first sentence literally says you get to pick your poltergeist. Like, what is this, a fucking Disney create a character menu? Like, what do you mean pick your poltergeist? I don't really get it. See, some of these are, like, really not worded too well as far as, like...
Well, we'll just blame...
Making the lore seem legit, but...
We'll just blame Bob Richard for this one. It's on his website, so... Thanks, Bob.
By the way, Bob Richards, this is literally a fucking car dealership we are getting this list off of. You know it's authentic.
You never know. I mean, a lot of these I've seen other places.
CEO of Augusta. By the way, if you want a 4-wheel drive Toyota Tacoma, we got that. Poltergeist 2, we can actually get you a fucking loan for that as well.
Hey, Yen.
Bob Richards.
Bob Richards Toyota. So, you get to pick your poltergeist at Hotel...
Ghosts and shit.
I love it. You get to pick your poltergeist at Hotel Aiken, as they have 3 haunted bedrooms. Okay. The spirit of a man who once committed suicide by jumping out of room 302's window inhabits that room. An old lady is said to be present in room 320, and the ghosts of former servants are believed to remain in room 328, which used to be the servants' quarters. Furthermore, the unusual activity isn't limited to those rooms. Housekeeping staff in particular have heard toilets flushing in empty rooms, maid carts moving from one end of a corridor to the other, and it seems one of their spirits is fond of TV, as the TV in one room is often on, even though, again, the room is empty. Well, that sounds like the hotel I stayed at a couple weeks ago. At least the TV part. Checked into my hotel room, and the TV was on when I walked in.
I'm just a little distracted. I did not notice that this list was from Bob Richards' dealership. How are they in the market of consuming or constructing this list? Do they have a paranormal division at fucking Bob Richards' Toyota dealership that I'm not aware of? Because I had no idea. And it's sort of blowing my mind. I'm starting to just take the stage here, but I'm just really... It really says Bob Richards on the top of my phone right now. I didn't see that one coming, Jeremy. I'm going to be honest with you. Where did you not think you didn't find a website that said ghosts.com or no, you went with bobrichards.com.
Well, you know, I have a lot of faith in Bob Richards. I'm trying to get that sponsorship, you know. But the thing, some of these on the list I've seen on other lists, so that's how I know that they're legit. And a lot of them actually, I have heard of most of these before. So Hotel Aiken, 3 different types of poltergeists. How do we feel about that?
I mean, damn, you could pick and choose like which one you want. You know what I mean? Like,
pick a room, any room.
you go down this hallway. The other one's on the 4th floor. This one's on the 13th floor. You know.
13th floor.
It's sort of this list. You know, I don't know. I've never heard of this one before, and you know, I just can't get off this Bob Richards topic. This list is definitely seeming. After I read, you get to pick your poltergeist, and then right above it, it says Bob Richards Toyota. I'm not really, not really consumed too much.
Yeah, that one was a little bit. They overdid that one a little bit, I think. Let's see if we can get the stage back with 3, the old post office. I'm gonna let you read this one.
All right. I'll stop derailing the podcast train right here. So this one is the old post office in Aiken. It's rumored to have. Wait, one sec. So the rumors abound in the old post office in Aiken, and they start before you even enter the building.
Shit.
In rainy weather, people have been known to report seeing a man on top of the office's rotunda. Can we get someone to pull that up? What the fuck is a rotunda?
I need rotunda, please. Can we get the dictionary? Siri, what is rotunda?
You know, Bob Richards, he sells Toyota Rotunda, Toyota Tundra. I think we're finding the loop. I think we're finding the plug here.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure that's what's happening here. Let's see. I'm gonna Google rotunda.
It's believed to be the ghost of a. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and just read this. You Google that.
A round building or room, especially one with a dome.
With a dome, so like an atriary or something.
I guess kind of. Let's see. I'm gonna look up the post office in Aiken, South Carolina.
Or an aviary. Did I say that wrong?
I don't know. I'm Googling it now to just kind of see what it looks like. Hey, I did look this up, and oh, okay, I see what it looks like now. If you look it up, there's like, so you've got.
What is it?
It's like just a little kind of round perch. You know how like, look up post office Aiken, South Carolina rotunda, and then click on images.
Oh, okay.
And what's interesting is when I did Google this on just the regular stuff, there's a lot of, or at least the very first link that pops up is one saying it's one of Aiken's most haunted places. So at least we believe this one.
That does not. When was this built? Because this looks nothing like modern post offices. This looks like the capital of a city. This building. Like, you know what the Atlanta Capitol looks like with the gold?
Yeah.
And it looks kind of similar to that. Like, this does not look anything like I would have thought this was like a museum or something. This looks nothing like a post office to me.
That's what, when I looked at it, that's exactly what I thought. I was like, that does, like, it looks like the Capitol. That's how I was going to describe it to you, actually.
Yeah.
And back to Bob with sports. So,
Toyota, Tundra, this summer, sale.
So tell us the rest of the story. There's a lot to this one. This is a long one.
Oh, shit, all right.
Now that we know what rotunda is.
Okay, so he's believed to be the ghost of a man who fell off the rotunda, which is the top of the dome building for the listeners. It was just a dome. Again, in wet conditions, as he was raising or lowering the flag. So basically, let me paint the picture here. There's a flag at the top of the rotunda, which is it's just a roof, but it's a dome. It looks like a semicircle. Just picture that. So he was going up there, lowering the flag or whatever, and it was later moved to a street level after he fell to his death. So in the old postmaster's office, there's a secret ladder that grants access to the space above the ceiling. It's believed that the postmaster took advantage of this to spy on his workers from above through a number of louvers, and the moans and groans that appear to originate from up there could hint that his spirit still watches the building's occupants today. Finally, the post office is also home to something of a murder mystery.
Oh, shit.
The old coal boiler was removed. Human bones were found within them, which is kind of crazy.
Wow.
The authorities were unable to come to any conclusion beyond the bones being decades old and those of a man, but no report of a corresponding crime or disappearance was ever found, and both victim and culprit remain unknown to this day.
Okay. Shit. So we're not just talking about just your everyday haunting.
It's more interesting because, like, you can actually play, like, this is documented, you know what I mean? Like, there's actually human bones found in there.
Mm-hmm.
This one is more my speed. I like this one because there's actually something there to, like, how am I going to describe this? he gets like there's something there physical that you can see where this story is stemming from. Like there was a body found, the body wasn't just, which is kind of weird to me. I mean, you're telling me we can like take a toenail clipping off of the frozen Iceman in the middle of the fucking Ice Age ice and find out what the hell he ate for his last meal, but we can't figure out who or what this man was. But I guess at the same time, if they didn't have a database for people back then, like we do now for fingerprints, like there was no system that would even be able to pick up whoever it was. So I guess that kind of also makes sense. But I mean, it's kind of crazy because there's bones that people they found there. So I mean, it's physical thing that that ties to the story.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like it's all like there's so much more to this one, and the fact that it's unsolved too. On top of that, like that just like that makes it like 10 times as crazy because it's an unsolved murder basically, and unidentified murder. On top of that, no one knows.
Might have to solve it.
Oh yeah, what T&J Crime Stoppers.
T&J, whose fucking bones are those.com, and we'll get in there and we'll take care of it.
Let's say if we can get 1 million subscribers tomorrow, we will absolutely do this. Only if we get 1 million subs. All right. So let's keep on track with the theme of darkness, I guess. I don't know. We have number 2 on the list. This is a personal favorite of mine. I've always been fascinated with this one, and I have driven by this one several times as well. No shocker there, right? Number 2.
There is no shocker.
No, there is no shocker. Number 2 is the Ezekiel Harris house. I think you remember this one. We talked about this one a lot back in the day.
Give us a rundown. Who is Ezekiel Harris?
I don't know who he is, but I know here's the story. The Ezekiel Harris house is home to probably the darkest tale on the list, thanks to a case of mistaken identity. For decades, this building was believed to have been the McKay House, the place where 13 American patriots were hanged by a British lieutenant colonel during the War of Independence. However, this was later proven to be a different and long-demolished building. That doesn't mean that the Ezekiel Harris house is free from ghostly goings-on, though. There have been repeats of a female spirit present on the premises, which is believed to be either Harris's wife, fretting over her husband's legal problems and or her own health, or a Mrs. Glass, mother of 2 brothers hanged at the McKay house, pleading for her sons' lives, having taken up residency at the Ezekiel Harris house when the McKay house itself was demolished. This one fascinates me because this is one of those ones that has gone so far as to even been on the news here in Augusta. Like, you look up the Ezekiel Harris house, everybody has heard of it. People have taken tours of it. You can go on ghost tours of it. It is one that has always, always, always fascinated me. And, the big rumor mill for a while there said that it was really like a poltergeist place, a poltergeist den. Like, people would go in there and get scratched, hair pulled, that kind of thing. Like, it was intense. That is one of those things I would love to go in there and just document everything. I would love to have an experience there. Who knows if that will ever get happened. I'm not trying to get dragged down the stairs or nothing. I'm not trying to do no Paranormal Activity level scares, but it is definitely one that fascinates me. What say you, Tyler?
I'm looking on Google here. I'm trying to figure out who exactly Ezekiel Harris was, considering the house is named after him, but I'm not really finding anything. The house definitely looks like it was made, it has the date on it, is 1797, so it's in the same era, pretty close to the 1800s era, the same Partridge Inn design, sort of. Yeah, it looks like a cottage home, very eerie looking, obviously, because once again, I think we can just credit that to it just being so old. and that architecture style is not something that we still use today. So, but yeah, I mean, just looking at it, it definitely looks creepy. So Ezekiel Harris was like the owner, or was he involved in that poltergeist event? Because I'm trying to find who Ezekiel Harris was.
That's what
I'm not really getting anything.
that's what I can't seem to find out. According to this, none of the spirits are Ezekiel Harris himself, but his wife. So that's interesting to me. That maybe that's one we'll have to devote a.
Okay, so it says the architecturally distinguished Harris Pearson Walker House, which is the Ezekiel Harris house, was the first house built in the village of Harrisburg near Augusta and the residence of its founder Ezekiel Harris. So Ezekiel Harris founded the village of Harrisburg or something.
I guess.
From 1797 up until about 1807. He then owned a home from 1809 to 1873. When the house was built, tobacco was the primary cash crop in Georgia. Liberal land grants and rich soil attracted tobacco planters. So I think Ezekiel Harris, just off reading this article, was someone who was very profound in the tobacco crop industry, and I think he built the house. I think he didn't necessarily live there. I think this might have been a house that he built.
Interesting.
I think that's maybe what this is saying.
Huh.
But yeah, I mean, this is definitely. I'm a history junkie. Like, I love history. I don't know what it is about it, but it just gets me going.
Yeah.
I love history. So even if this had no ties to anything paranormal, I would still like to go there just because it's so old.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I have one short snippet story. We can go off topic for a second. Same genre though.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know Shannon and Collins' old house?
Yeah.
The pink one.
Mm-hmm.
They used to live in. Did you know about the Civil War graves outside?
I think so. I feel like I remember. Actually, didn't we go out there like one New Year's Eve? Like we went back there and found them or something?
Yes, I was about to say. So every New Year's Eve, bro, we would go out there. I don't know why it was on New Year's Eve. Like we're celebrating the new year, and then my uncle, you wanna go see some fucking graves? I'm like, yeah, dude, let's do it. So we went out. It was like in between the neighbor's property and their property, and like this little no man's land strip of area. And I mean, the tombstones weren't legible. They were just rock slabs, but you could tell they were tombstones, though.
Yeah.
You just couldn't tell anything else about it. Like it was just a rock.
Oh wow.
It was like shaped to be a tombstone, and I mean that was kind of cool and a little eerie. No, that grave has got to be. It's old as hell.
Oh yeah.
It's still there, so.
That's awesome.
It's just definitely creepy.
Yeah, man, that was so long ago since we've been there. I wonder if they're all still there.
Now I'm thinking if it's still there or not. I wonder. Maybe not though, because I actually do remember one time I actually picked up the tombstone and like threw it like a literal devious fucking shithead child I was. But let's be honest, it could have just been a rock in the ground. They could have been playing a prank on us all the time. But I really don't think it was. Just the texture of the rock, the way it looked. Like it didn't look like an ordinary rock that occurred.
Yeah.
Like naturally, it definitely had like some human intervention on it, and it looked like it was definitely used as a tombstone. But maybe it's there, maybe it's not. I mean, depending on where I threw it. But I think there was a couple other tombstones in the area. Maybe those are still there.
We just got.
It depends though, because I mean, if people were like renovating the property, they could have. They could have moved stuff around or leveled that area, but either way, definitely cool.
Well, they better be careful if they're renovating property and messing with graves. Didn't they ever see the movie Poltergeist?
Yeah, apparently not.
Yeah,
I didn't either because I literally threw this tombstone like a
yeah.
shithead.
You
picked it up and threw it. I was like, what the fuck are they gonna do? Unless he's dead anyway. Oh, God. I mean, obviously, you wouldn't do that to any tombstone that's modernly been placed. But that one, I was like probably 13 years old. Tombstone was like old as hell. It literally looked like a rock. I mean, you really couldn't even tell. But
oh yeah.
I was like, watch this. I'm gonna kick it, and I kicked it. So.
Like, check this out. I'm gonna do something awesome.
But that was post Green Man. So I haven't had anything since then. So if anything happens, I'll definitely update this podcast. Maybe episode 5219.
Oh yeah,
The
yeah.
day that I get just brutally possessed by Lieutenant Corporal Salamander, the guy that died in that grave or whatever. But until then, nothing's happened.
Salamander, really? Lieutenant Corporal Salamander?
I don't know. I just had to think.
I just needed a name for him. That sounded good. So before we go on to number one, which Tyler might have you read it so you can get it ready, I do want to ask you about a story that I do recall, and I want to say you were there for it. I could be wrong. It could have been your cousin who was there for it. But correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't up at your grandmother's house, right around the corner from me, didn't you have a paranormal experience there? To a degree? Or was it your cousin who was there for that one?
I remember one like 20-second story about it, but it might have been Aiden that had that experience because I feel like if it was me, I would have understood what you were saying. But I do remember this one time though, my grandma was in the closet. You know the closet, the master bedroom, like the super long closet.
Yeah.
Like a pretty deep closet.
Mm-hmm.
She said that she was in there one time, and she was home alone, and she felt a human or something like physically touch her shoulder, and she turned around and like nothing was there. So I do know she told me that one time. As far as whatever you're referring to, that probably I don't think that was me. I don't remember anything personally, but I mean maybe Aiden grew up there, you know. So
Oh yeah. Well,
he definitely probably has something.
Well, I remember a story. Like I said, I can't remember if it was you or him who was there. And of course, that it could have also been made up by her too, because I even want to say one of y'all might have questioned the validity of the story itself. She was hanging a picture, and her father had recently passed around the same time as she hung that picture. And once she hung it up on the wall, the picture supposedly came literally just flung off the wall to the center of the room, and she kind of saw that.
Okay, now I know what you're talking about. Yeah, now I know what you're talking about. Yep, I 100% know what you're talking about. I don't remember it too in depth, but I do remember that being a discussion.
Yeah. Because I want to say she said that you were there, and when it happened, you were just like, well, I'm out of here now.
See, I remember the story, but I don't know if I was there or not. And the thing that's really bothering me is because I feel like I definitely would have remembered seeing a picture fly off the wall at Mach 2.
Right.
Smashing the ground. Because I think that might have been my cousin. I don't know if that was me. I do remember the story being told, though.
Quick, get him on right now. We got to find out. All right. So we are here, number one on the list. And that is Augusta University. And these are several accounts on this campus. And again, this is another place I drive by every single day on my way to work. And it is one that I would love to check out at night. And technically, I could drive there right now and check it all out at night because the campus is pretty much an open campus. So that might be something we'll have to look into. But Tyler, tell us about Augusta University. Let's hear about it.
All right. So Augusta University, legend has it that it was home to at least 3 different haunted places and even more spirits. The most famous might be Bellevue Hall, where 2 sisters, Emily Galt and Claire Golf, are often seen playing games together in the hall and supposedly haunting the site of Emily's suicide. Okay, well, I had no idea about the suicide being involved, but as the story goes, she had fallen in love with a soldier based at the nearby Augusta Arsenal who was killed during the Civil War, and overcame with grief, threw herself out an upstairs window after inscribing her name on it with a diamond engagement ring the soldier bought her. The window and the inscription it bears are today on display at the University Museum, which is cool. I'm about to pull that up.
Oh, yeah.
Another popular sighting is the ghost of a Confederate soldier walking around the campus who is believed to be buried in the Walker Cemetery and related to former Senator Freeman Walker, in whose land that cemetery was established. Finally, we have Bennett House, which before becoming part of the university was home to a military officer and his wife, who had a rather expensive taste in clothes and spent a large part of her husband's money as a result. One morning, the maid entered the room to bring her lady a cup of tea, only to find her dead, the victim of an apparent poisoning. as her body had already had a teacup in its hand. Her husband said that he did make her tea early that morning, but denied poisoning his wife. And despite widespread suspicion, was never charged with the crime. That is said to be the reason for the ghost presence, and that the First Lady now haunts her former home, plotting revenge against her spouse for murdering her, rattling coat hangers and admiring herself in the mirror for a split second whenever someone looks into it. Those aren't the only spooky secrets in Augusta University or the CSRA hold either, so be sure to keep a lookout for supernatural specters and abominable snowmans this weekend. And from all of us at Bob Richards, happy Halloween. Oh, no, I get it. This is a Halloween.
Okay,
It all makes sense.
let's say so they're not just making fun of ghosts. It was actually Halloween. So Augusta University, wow, that is a lot to take in. That's a lot. I want to say I knew about.
We went to high school with, literally went to that school. But what's this thing called? What was her name? Read it out to me if you can. Or let me see. On display.
Let's see. Her name was. I gotta find it again. Emily Galt, Galt.
Okay.
Oh, it's in the University Museum. I thought it was in the Augusta Museum. I was about to be like, I've been in there several times. I've never seen anything. That's another place that is creepy. I don't know that it's haunted, but if the walls could talk.
So there's only one picture of this guy holding it up, but it's super fucking low quality. I'm trying to find the article that it's attached to. I'm not finding it. I can't actually look. It's like a guy's holding it, and he's holding it, but I can't see any intricate detail about anything. But if it's on display, I'm sure it's available to be seen. Where's it on display at? Where's it at?
At the Augusta University Museum. Yeah, it's at the University Museum. Which I didn't know that was a thing.
Neither did I. Emily Galt.
Maybe.
Yeah, so there's only one picture popping up, but it's super bad quality, so I can't really.
I think
even tell.
It's one of these. It's either the. I guess it's got to be this one, the Lucy Craft Laney Museum. I've pulled it up here too, but I can't find anything about it. I guess we're just gonna have to show up at one of them and just start tearing the place apart. Be like, I want to see the ring, damn it.
Where the fuck is the goddamn shot? Where the fuck is the window? Just go raise hell in the place.
I just want one thing. So that brings us to the end of our list, and wow, we've got a lot of places we got to check out, don't we?
Bob Richards for that.
Thank you, Bob Richards. If you need a Toyota, check out Bob Richards. They're the greatest. Really need that sponsorship, Bob Richards.
We do need to check these places out. A lot of these places. Oh, Bob Richards, just a quick pitch right here. I mean, if we end up going to any of these positions in the CSRA, and we need a utility truck to move our equipment, maybe a Toyota Tundra or Toyota Tacoma would be a great fit for that.
Free of charge.
Get out there, Bob. Wrinkle that one around in your brain, see if you like that one. But yeah, I mean, a lot of these places are close by. We can definitely go to these places.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I said,
not even to say, oh my god, we see a ghost, but just to give the overall vibe of the place.
Oh yeah.
If it's actually holding true to what these articles are saying,
and that
our honest opinion on it.
That might be a neat thing we might look into doing like an actual video kind of. I don't want to call it a video diary, but like actual footage of us going to these locations and checking them out and just kind of, just feeling the overall vibe.
Like a series.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I literally drive by almost all of these places on my way to work every day. So, hell, I could, if I wanted to. There's a part of me that's very tempted to just drive down to Augusta University right now and just start like walking around the grounds until I find something. But I'm not gonna do that. Not alone. Sorry, not happening. Come back and be like, I'm possessed. So it's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. End of the podcast. We made it 4 episodes. Jeremy got possessed, but at least we made 4 episodes. So
It's like, who needed more? That is going to do it for today's episode of the Terror Talks. Thanks for joining. Who knew recording the outro would be the hard part here? I thought it'd be the intro, and we just kind of pushed through that one. But thank you for joining us on the Terror Talks this evening. My name is Jeremy. If you like what you see, be sure to rate, comment, subscribe. Check out all our social media: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're on all of it. Share us with your friends. Give us a like. All that fun stuff. Let us know what you want to hear. If you have stories that you want to share, feel free to send us an email. We are theterrortalks@gmail.com. Very simple. It'll be in the description. You can. The Terror Talks. We will be sure. We'll be sure to also be checking the DMs on all our social media, so you can direct message us on Instagram, message us on Facebook. Pretty sure you can message on Twitter. I'm still kind of figuring Twitter out. I'm not the most familiar with it. I'm still figuring that stuff out.
You can, in fact, message on Twitter, yes.
Okay, you can message on Twitter, so be sure to check us out there. And like I said, give us some shares, tell your friends about us. Let us know what you want to hear. You know, we want to cater to you guys. We want to appeal to the mass audience, and we want to give you guys the best content that we can. This is going to be the first of several episodes where we're really going to be diving into paranormal stuff. Once Halloween season rolls back in, we're going to kick it off and start doing more haunted house and stuff. This year, we do have a major announcement that I'm going to go ahead and make right now. This year, we are going to be attending the premier haunt event in, well, I would say in the world. We will be attending Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights this year for their 30th anniversary. And we will be covering all of that. We'll have an episode coming up soon, kind of just talking through the speculated maps for haunts and scare zones. But we'll get to all that later, so just keep an eye out on the social media for those things. Tyler, do you have anything you'd like to add to the viewers?
I had fun coming on. I didn't really have too many notes as far as to bounce around on to sort of have a guidance, but you know what? We just winged it. We had fun, and we talked about some cool stuff in our local area that I can almost guarantee. You know, I'm not running this channel with Jeremy, but you know, I can guarantee you that whenever I come in town, we probably will just be going to these places just for our own interest, and you know, he'll probably be recording some of it, so I'm sure that some of that content will be available in the future as well. But you know, that's all I got.
Where can our viewers find you, Tyler, if they want to check out any of your work that they do, that you do?
Well, shit. Let me see if I can plug something for you. I usually do some live streaming on Twitch. Various stuff, gaming related stuff. If you're interested in that kind of stuff, you can follow me at twitch.tv/SwiftRegion. That's my Twitch. I don't really do it too often. It's something I just do every now and then. But I also have a YouTube channel. Let me pull it up. I don't have a link for it because the YouTube link generation is it creates like a random URL. You know what I mean? So there's not like a username anymore.
Yeah.
But I'll give it to Jeremy, and he can put it in the description of this video if you want to see some videos I have on there. It's just gaming related stuff, but yeah, that's all I have.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, thank you so much for liking, commenting, subscribing, viewing our videos. We love to have you guys. You're a great audience. Be on the lookout for plenty more videos from the Terror Talks. I believe we have a new series that may be coming out very, very soon. Details on that will be hitting social media very soon. But I just would like to once again thank my guest, Mr. Tyler, for joining us on here today. And I hope you all had a wonderful time with us. I know we did. And we look forward to seeing you next time on the Terror Talks.